There's a lot of witchcraft in South Africa. I think in all of Africa there's a lot of witchcraft. The African cultures are quite active in witchcraft to this day. There are definitely witchcraft among other cultures as well. The white people, the mixed races like the colored community, the Indian community, and then also obviously the black people of South Africa. I think in all those different cultures there are witchcraft, or there is witchcraft, but the African cultures are definitely known to practice witchcraft since as far as we can think back. So for example, I've got a friend that works for the national parks of South Africa, and the African people, when they do not like somebody, or when somebody else threatens their position at work, or they're not happy with people, they would often use witchcraft to make such people sick. My friend specifically did not at all believe in any spiritual powers and things, but he said after he worked for the South African National Park, he has no doubt about the fact that witchcraft is real, because he saw in front of his own eyes how people became sick because people they fight one another with witchcraft. And like, I've also got a friend that is quite involved in evangelism. He's a Christian. He has also worked a lot among the African people, specifically in Lesotho and in KwaZulu-Natal, to bring the gospel to them. And he has had a lot of encounters with witchcraft as well. And he one day told me that he was basically busy preaching, and one of the African pastors was standing next to him, and while he was preaching he saw somebody just falling out of the sky, and he ignored it. He thought maybe he was just seeing his own picture, And after the sermon he looked at the African pastor and he said, "Was it just me, or did I see somebody fall from the sky?" And the African pastor said, "Yeah, it's absolutely normal here. There's a lot of witchcraft activity, and the people fight one another with witchcraft, and these supernatural happenings are taking place." One would think the person flying on a broom in the movie is only in a movie, but it turns out in Africa it's not. So this might sound funny. Obviously, I think a lot of people will not take what I'm saying, but yeah. So I've happened to speak to two people that I've known for some time that have said that they've encountered these things in direct situations. So yeah, I think witchcraft is real in Africa. I think I definitely do believe in witchcraft. I'm not ignorant of it. I mean, as a Christian, I don't fear witchcraft. I'm very aware of spiritual. I think all Christians ought to be quite aware of spiritual activity. So I know, because I also grew up in South Africa, and I do have a lot to do with African people where I work in South Africa, and it's clear, like, they're not shy about the reality of witchcraft. They speak about it, they use it, they are involved with it. I think in the same way that the Christian faith applies spiritual authority and spiritual, shall I say, power when it comes to prayer and preaching the gospel and gathering together and worship. I think in African cultures it's the same. There's definitely a void in all human beings that God put there, and I think it's important to make sure that void gets filled with God, and not with stuff that's not in line with the will of God. So yeah, I think if you don't have a revelation or understanding that God is the one to fill the void, I think you might end up running to other things to fill the void in you, and witchcraft being one of those.